Hello and welcome to the Nomads of Fantasy.
Oh my god.
This is episode 122. And as always, with me I have Brandon.
Goddamn foreign cars.
Can't trust him. And we also have Dave.
Hey Kate, you haven't seen my new apartment. I haven't seen your old apartment.
Ooh.
Burn.
Yeah.
Quick pop in by Judge.
Yep. I like that cameo. It was a fun one. If you don't know these quotes or what we're talking about here, we are talking Gremlins, the holiday horror comedy classic from 1984, produced by none other than Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. Yeah.
Directed by Joe Dante and written by Chris Columbus.
Right.
Yeah. So, got a stacked house here. But before we get into all that, this is our last episode of 2023. We're wrapping it up. A good year with the Gremlins. And we are, we're still deciding on schedule, but after this episode, we're going to be taking a 2-week hiatus, for the holidays, all the festivities and such. So we will return in 2024 with some hot new content. So keep an eye.
It's so hot.
So hot. Keep an eye on the schedule. I'll, once we figure out what episodes we're doing, keep an eye on the nomadsoffantasy.com. I always have the schedule up to date up there, with what we will be doing next. So that's probably the best place. And also on our social media, at Nomads of Fantasy, Twitter, is probably where we'll be posting most of the stuff. So yeah. And actually the best place to stay updated is our Discord, the nomadsoffantasy.com/Discord. If you want to join our Discord there, and the link's right on the website, so you can't miss it if you want to chat with us. But we got a couple comments of some people who also liked Gremlins. Just 2 this week, short social section. Over on X over there, I finally watched, just said simply, love it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And
Love's a strong word.
Love is a strong word. Dave has been foreshadowing some things.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into our conversation. And also, as always, Tejas over in our Discord there left a great comment. It says, a great holiday horror classic. Gremlins scared and made me laugh as a child. This combination of emotions made it forever stick in my brain. Now it's one of those movies that I think about when I think about it, I want to watch it. It's also a rare Christmas horror movie from that time, a genre that has increased slowly, which is interesting because, I feel like now, like at least once a year, like during the around the holiday season, we see a new horror Christmas classic. Not classic, but just a release of a horror Christmas movie. I know
some sort of murder Santa
is
popular these days.
It had Violent Night or whatever with Hopper over there from Stranger Things.
Yep.
There's always like the Krampus movies. There's that is definitely a growing genre. Not one that I've really dipped my toes into, but
maybe next year we'll do a proper horror movie for Christmas.
That could be fun. I mean, that's all. You guys got anything else before we hit the break and just go right into Gremlins?
I'm ready to start.
Yeah.
Start dunking on this movie.
Okay.
No, I would never do such a thing.
I will defend it honorably. It's
got some weird stuff in it. I going back and watching this. I haven't seen this movie in ages. And
whoa, really? I legit watch every year.
Kids.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Watching with kids is a weird experience. So
I'm gonna talk about that.
Yeah,
I
let's
watch
get
with
into
my
it.
kids.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll take a little break here, and after that, we will be talking about some Gremlins right after this. And we are back to talk about some Gremlins. This released, like I said, released in 1984, 10 years before I was born.
In
And
June of '84, which is weird because it's a
right,
Christmas movie in the
yeah,
middle
like
of
leading
summer.
up
Yeah.
before the holidays. Yeah, interesting.
Which is like when people say something like about Die Hard, like Die Hard wasn't even filmed in Christmas. It was made in the summer. Like so was Gremlins.
Doesn't
What's
matter.
your point?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Christmas movie is a Christmas movie.
The snow
man.
in this
It takes
movie
place
looked
Christmas,
fake
it's
as
a Christmas
hell.
movie.
The snow in this movie
Yeah,
looked
it
fake
was
as hell.
extreme. Like on Billy's car, I'm like, dude, aren't you guys freezing? Because like, what kind of snow is that? It looks
Didn't even
like
attempt to brush it off either. I'm like, how do you
Right.
how you driving? How you driving like that?
yeah.
That is very true.
So we've all seen this movie. Although you guys keep thinking that I haven't seen it, but it was the Goonies that I haven't seen. I have seen Gremlins, but not in a long time. So this rewatch, I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I saw it. It was probably like when I was a kid. So it's been it's been a long time. So yeah, I mean, what did y'all think on this rewatch? I know you guys watched it with your kids. I did not watch it with my 4-year-old.
Oh, your
for
kid
obvious
would be
reasons. He would be
traumatized.
traumatized,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That would be
Yeah,
bad.
not me though. I'm like, I got my 5-year-old and my 9-year-old watching it, and I'm like, pfft, we're watching Gremlins because you're gonna experience what I experienced.
Did they like it?
You just
The sheer
No,
horror.
yeah, they think it's scary, but they also it's like the Gremlins. Like the scary moments are scary to them, and the funny moments are funny.
Right.
So they get, and I love watching movies with my kids because they do get into it and they react the way I think the director wanted them to react. So yeah, maybe the 5-year-old was too young to see this, but he was not. Like nothing happened, even at the very end with Stripe's death, which
That was
I forgot.
horrific.
Like I'm like, whoa,
was
this is
pretty,
actually very
nightmare
yeah.
fuel.
He was like, well, this is weird, and I'm like, yeah, it's very weird,
This
right?
is weird.
So
That's a
yeah,
good reaction.
and my older kids is like, this is so gross, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty
Stripe
gross.
just opened the Ark of the Covenant, and his
Right.
whole face is melting.
Right.
Just melts into a
right
puddle.
into the camera.
And then when you think it's
Right.
over, he just fucking hops out of the fountain to give you that one last shot of him.
My wife jumped and yelled like 4 or 5 times during this movie, like ah, like the jump scares got her over and over
Right.
again, which I thought was hilarious because the kids were fine.
You know what? I actually laughed out loud a couple times, like while I watched this movie. Like it is a legit
what scenes?
funny movie. Like the whole, just anytime the Gremlins are fucking going nuts. When like the bar scene when they're all just drinking and fucking smoking and shooting each other, and the one that really got me though was with the caroling scene and Mrs. Deagle's death. Like those were
My kids,
so fucking
yes,
good.
they straight up laughed. He's like, "Oh, that's that mean lady," and I'm like, "Yeah."
She got her
She's like,
comeuppance.
She hates Christmas.
Is that's the dog lady, right? That
Yeah,
yes,
it's the lady from the beginning.
she's actually a cat lady
She went-
that hates dogs.
Why she hates dogs.
She went outside with a pitcher of water to throw water on the carolers.
What an evil
what the fuck?
person.
She's
So
literally like the witch of the Old West, essentially, in this flick, which is hilarious.
We just watched Wizard of Oz a week ago with the kids. Excellent movie. It's like one of the greatest movies ever made. Anyways, and it was so fresh in our mind when we were watching this. The way she's introduced, when she's like bustling down the road and cuts people off, like she is the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
She's got
And
that
even the way
and
she
your little dog
dies.
too vibe in the beginning
Yes,
of the bank.
Absolutely. I didn't
right.
even make that connection, but now that you say that, like, yeah, the
And
way she died.
Yeah, only her feet are showing, and it's just
Pointing
like
straight up.
just like the Wicked Witch of the East.
I didn't get the death part.
So
yeah.
I don't know if that was on purpose or what. I'm sure it is. Like Steven Spielberg has always been a
Gotta be.
fan of the old cinema, and like in this movie, how many times did we see like somebody watching a classic black and white movie on their TV? So this
Noticed
movie,
that,
I
for
think, is
sure.
a lot of like nod, wink, wink going on to like some of the classics in this movie.
It's also interesting. Another classic that showed up was like the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Bambi, which are
Right.
Disney movies. Which I don't know if you guys know the story behind the original Gremlins like short story that this is loosely based on.
I don't know, but enlighten me.
It was so there was a Gremlins book originally written by Roald Dahl, who wrote such children's classics as Matilda and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So yeah,
okay.
pretty famous old children's author. But he wrote the Gremlins original story, and it was published by Disney. So like if you look at this book, it's all illustrated by Disney artists. So it looks like the old Disney animated movies from like the 1940s. It's in that style, and he wrote it with the intention of it becoming like a full feature length film, like produced by Disney and made by Disney. But that never happened. So it it was forever trapped in this book form, and it was owned by Disney. But then it's weird. In 2006, Dark Horse Comics bought the rights to that and republished it. So it's available for like people to actually buy and read. So it's
Okay.
pretty interesting.
But you're saying that somebody else wrote some guy wrote a book about Gremlins.
It's a kid's version. Like this movie is very very loosely based on that book.
Okay, because I was watching the making of and I learned some cool facts. So, and just for people, for the sake of where we're going with this episode, this is I mean, who hasn't seen Gremlins, right? So this is, we're not going to waste your time really going over the plot, and there's a lot of podcast episodes that can do that for you. We're probably going to just react to the quality of the film, the world building, the production, like we usually do. So, but yeah, so I was looking at the making of this movie, and I learned some things. So Chris Columbus, who, dude, I mean, the guy just, he made some of the best, and he does a really good job, with writing kids and all that stuff. In
We
stories.
just watched
But
the Goonies.
anyways,
He worked on the Goonies too.
right, and you got Spielberg there, and it's just like the magic.
And Corey
all this
Feldman
was
is returning again in this one.
And this was, we had the summer of Arnold, but we had the year of Corey Feldman, man. He was in Stand By Me. He was in Goonies. He was in Gremlins, and the motherfucker was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Can I get a hell yeah? Because he was the voice of Donatello. The guy was in 4
That's
movies
amazing.
this year.
That's
I'm quietly a big fan of Corey Feldman. I think the guy just crushed it. And then we will get Eric to watch and enjoy the Burbs, so we can get down in here, and we'll probably do Lost Boys and all that stuff. But anywho, so Chris Columbus likes the idea of Gremlins. Maybe he read that book or something like that. And he was very inspired to write this story. And I learned this really cool thing about the magic of Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg saw the script, and he goes, "This is great. I want to produce," because he's got his new production, Amberlin Films, whatever, right? And he takes the script from Chris Columbus, and he goes, "The only thing I want to do, really, is I think it needs one of the Mogwais to not turn," and that was his addition to the story as the key. Then that was what Gizmo was, and I think I love that because it really does make this movie. You always wonder, like, what is it about these classics that, why do we love it? Why do they still stand the test of time? And I think that the creative decision to create Gizmo was one of the magic ingredients in this movie. If it was just the Gremlins terrorizing, it wouldn't have had that charm, that cute little song, that little purring thing that it does, and clearly inspired the creation of Grogu from Star Wars's The Mandalorian. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about Grogu. My kids were saying the same
for
thing.
sure. I mean, he carries them around in a backpack and whatever, but you also can't deny the fact that they merchandise the hell out of Gizmo after this movie.
He's so adorable. And one other thing that I looked at there's a TV show that came out this year. I think it's supposed to be pretty good. It's on Max, and it's The Secret of the Mogwai.
Oh.
And I went on YouTube. I don't have Max right now, but you guys do. I think you should check it out with your kids maybe. But it's all CG, kind of cartoony looking. I was like looking up on YouTube like the lore of Gremlins or whatever. Like, is there anything really to this world outside of the movie, right? And I came across the YouTube video where they explain in that series the Mogwai. So a long time ago, there was like a brother and a sister god or whatever, and one didn't really like the humans, and the other one did. It's like, no, the humans aren't up. Like you can't trust them. They're they're evil species or whatever. And the sister's like, no, there's got to be good in them. I think that and so she wanted to test them. She created the Mogwai, Gizmo, who was in the movie. This one cute little thing says, and gave them to the humans and say, based on with these rules, knowing these rules, if you can not destroy the planet, then you are worthy of living and existing. Of course, they fuck it up, but she still, defends it. But the Mogwai, and you can watch this video. It's pretty cool. But I think they did a good job explaining the lore that's in the movie. The only thing they changed was the wording of "don't feed them after midnight." She said, "Don't feed them when the moon is at its highest," or something like that.
That makes more sense because
that's a better rule.
I've always wondered, when does it reset? When can you feed them after midnight? Because, like, is it midnight to 6 a.m.? Is, when the sun comes up? Yeah, I always wondered that.
Right, and, like, if you're in Arizona or New Mexico, one of them doesn't even do time.
Exactly.
So
the moon's such a better explanation because, like, the moon has, roots in, like, mythology already and, folklore. Right. So, I like that better. So you're saying that Gizmo is the only Mogwai?
He's the only one. He's the only Mogwai. He's the Mogwai.
So he's like ancient, like thousands of years old.
He's ancient. Yeah, and he's not worthy. Humans are not worthy of him. So it seems like the old Chinese guy that has him in the beginning of the movie, he probably is like some lineage that hands it down to him, and because he knows.
Keep the little fucker in a basement somewhere in Chinatown.
He lives in a box.
Not let him out.
Yep. Yeah, so
that's cool.
I don't know, but I thought that was pretty neat. That like, what do they actually do with the real lore now? Like, if they're really going for it and they're making a TV series, like, are they gonna ruin it? But no, it looked pretty promising. I liked what they did. They didn't really change anything. They just kind of fleshed it out a little bit because that's a ridiculous concept.
It is funny, and I was kind of when I was watching it, I'm wondering like, who is this movie for? Like, it's too gory.
Come on, Dave.
Like, it's
that's
gory
a good thing. Who is
to
this?
be a children's movie. Like, you can't just like, I wouldn't, Eric,
some
you would
kids'
show
movies
it
are gonna be gory.
I wouldn't show it to my kid,
like,
but he's very sensitive.
It's there's a scene that's completely unnecessary in it that I completely forgot about, where one girlfriend talks about her dad dying in the chimney, and that's how I found out there's no Santa Claus. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if this is a movie for kids, you don't put that scene in there. If it's in a movie for adults, like, you got the little cute thing. So it's trying to cater to the kids with the cute little furry Mogwai.
I kind of like that scene though.
To adults with the
apparently that's a very it was a very controversial point between Steven Spielberg and the director, whether to keep that specific scene in.
Oh, okay. Who wanted what?
The director.
There's no point for it.
The director wanted to keep it in. Spielberg didn't like the scene, but apparently Joe Dante, the director, wanted to keep it because it represented the movie as a whole, like the combination between the horrific and the comedic. So that's why he really fought to keep it in there.
Think about it. Gremlins are these thing that like we've heard of. There's a folklore to them. It's an ancient like thing from like China, right? But like they talked about this in like the wars, right? World War I or II or whatever, right?
They even popularized it in World War II,
where the Gremlins were attacking the airplanes, right? Mm-hmm. So, and like, you like, it's not real. It's real. It's not real. Like, you don't know. And I think that's like Santa falls in that same thing. Like, who's to say that Santa's not real? In this movie, who's really? There are non-believers, but people are not believing in Gremlins, and they happen to be real. Who's to say that Santa's not real in this world either? So I think it's a fun scene. The only thing that's hard is that when you watch it with kids, for her to say that line, I like the dark. Like it's one of the ingredients in this movie. Like that out of nowhere, there's like this really dark scene.
Yeah,
and she talks about seeing her father die. But like
dead body,
like corpse after weeks. Yeah.
And what kind of tell me this, like, what kind of dumbass parent thinks that they can slide down a chimney with presents? Like, what a fucking idiot.
Could have been
Like,
He was trying to
guess
do
what?
something nice for his kids.
Your dad's a fucking dumbass, and he deserved to die in a chimney. Like, you can't go down a chimney with presents and just think that, hey, I'm gonna be Santa Claus. Like, you fucking idiot.
He
Like,
slipped.
Dave, you have said
And broke his neck.
it was
an accident.
he's not
But
getting down the chimney. Let's be honest.
right. Like he should have known that. Like it's all
Anybody
not
knows.
Well,
real.
he must have
Everyone-
thought he could fit, but then he just slipped and broke his neck because he wasn't stuck in there. That's not how he died. He broke his neck.
How do you break your neck going down a chimney? Like, even then, like I don't
you
know.
get it like stuck on the on the wall.
Or you slide
Yeah,
down straight
maybe.
and you whap your head on the back of the chimney. I don't know.
Could, yeah.
Yeah. First
There
off, go feet first, bro. What are you doing? You know,
Head
Maybe
first
you just
down the
fell
chimney.
into it. Maybe.
He just stood on the edge and then he just jumped straight up and tried to like pencil dive his way down
Yeah,
the chimney.
like in the Santa Claus.
Right.
Yeah.
Think that would work, but no. Like it was a weird scene, and that was, I don't know. Other than that, like watching it with kids is perfectly fine. Like my kids thought the Gremlins getting murdered and stuff is kind of hilarious
Kind of,
because it's like
right.
hokey, it's like hokey comic booky kind of
Yeah,
deaths.
and they explode into green goo. Like it's not like violent and visceral.
Well, dude. So I remember. I mean, it's been. I mean, I watch this movie every year, but I forgot some scenes. In this scene, I forgot. So I'm watching this scene with the movie where watching this with the kids, where the mother is alone in the house, and the movie starts turning right to a horror movie. Like the camera angle, is there now. Like the camera is just like always on an angle. Something feels off, which I love. Like that was a really nice touch. Like throughout, whenever you're dealing with the Gremlins, the camera angle is like low, and But anyways, the mother goes to look for the Gremlins, and when she does, she kills 3, one after the other, in like a matter of 2 minutes.
She's
And
badass.
throws them right in the microwave.
And I remember the one being blended, and I remember one being nuked in the microwave. I don't remember the one though. She just grabs the knife and just straight up stabs it like a horror.
fucking
And I'm
murders it.
So
to
my
death.
kids, my oldest kid just goes, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Yeah, that got." But she was in beast mode
right
in that scene. So it's just the movie
Dude,
goes from cute and
also-
kind of mysterious and adventurous to whoa.
The Gremlins are
Why I don't know if it's good for kids.
the
Like, that's
Gremlins
the
are
thing.
straight up killing people. They're not just hurting them. They're not just messing
Right.
around with them. They are legitimately killing them.
Killing the teacher. Oh, dude, when the teacher hit his scene too,
Yeah,
like
I
that
know.
was just
He's just
music
dead on the
cut-
floor.
the
Fucking
camera goes low again, and it's
Yeah.
a Gremlins perspective. It's really nice. Like when you watch the movie, like pay attention to the directing. Like I think that they did some really smart things that you might not have caught because you've just seen this movie since the '80s. But
well, it
I was like,
it presents
that's
itself as a cute kids movie in the beginning. It's silly. You get introduced to Gizmo, and he's obviously super cute. But yeah, like you said, once the Gremlins sort of all band together, shit starts to go down, and the body count starts rising. So
yeah,
they
Yeah.
do mix in like it is like a kind of a roller coaster because they go, and even I don't know, it's not like I wouldn't say it's scary, just because the Gremlins look so fucking silly. Like they're not scary to look at. You can't help
their
but laugh at them.
Their faces look like little demons. They got like these little tiny sharp teeth.
Yeah,
and
and
if you're zoomed in on
they're
when
fucking
you see their bodies
they're
and their little
puppets.
puppetry walking around, like it is pretty silly. But
well,
like that's the
yes.
whole draw of the movie is like the rapscallion antics of the Gremlins, which is like murder. Like,
Right.
Let's be honest. It's just
They just want to
murder.
party. They want to have a
And
good time.
in Gizmo. I mean, for being just born out of a pod, like Gremlins have I love that they just immediately like latch on to like societal norms and electrical engineering, and they know how
Right.
to like rewire a stoplight, and they just like start touching wires together, and lights start turning, and like they know to dress up, and they know about Christmas carols, and they know all this stuff, and they were just like, then that was, I don't know, it's like a weird,
but
evil
Gizmo doesn't know
innocence to
shit.
him.
Like he doesn't know anything. It seems like
Just
Gizmo's just kind of like do
thinks
do do
cute.
do do.
Well,
and
they say like, well, the Gremlin is the evolved quote unquote Mogwai. So
okay.
because the Mogwai is in like the pupal stage. They say that multiple times in this movie, and then when they get wet, Well, no, it's not even when they get wet. When they get wet, they multiply. But when you feed them after midnight is when they do their metamorphosis into gremlins.
Right.
And
Right.
And Mogwai don't have water. I thought that was really weird. Like, you can't. What does a Mogwai drink? Like, it doesn't. It never needs.
You don't
water.
drink it no matter how thirsty it is. Or something like that, right? You can't.
No, you can't give it water. Yeah, can't give it water. Can't feed it after midnight. So
yeah, but snow is okay. Like, you're allowed to walk over snow, nothing happens. But like,
only direct contact, right, with liquid water.
Yeah, it's one of the things where you just don't pay attention to those rules. It's just kind of like you just go with it. Because like the people in this movie are not aware they're in a fucking movie. Because, all right, Billy, you're what, 22? You're fresh out of high school, right? And you're still friends with your teacher. You find like, hey, this Mogwai, I'm gonna go to my science teacher. What do you think of this thing? And like, you can make other ones by just getting it wet. Let's experiment with it. Teacher calls him, hey, Billy, the pod hatched. All right, great. Billy's on his way over. Billy doesn't know that the teacher was killed. He discovers a dead body. Goes to call the police. His hand is scratched by the gremlin. But he's never like concerned. Holy fucking shit, I just saw a dead body. Like, if I was 20 years old and I saw somebody that just called me like 5-10 minutes ago.
And somebody that you knew that you taught you in high school that you probably knew for 4 years, like, he's fine.
Right, and then like his friend Pete, right, Corey Feldman's character, which I think is cool that he still hangs out with like a kid clearly 6 years younger than him.
Right, much younger, yeah.
But he's over there checking out Gizmo, and he gets sweat, and they see it, and he's like, he gets bored of it within 2 minutes, and he starts like reading a magazine. He's like, yeah, it's really cool. It's like, no, nobody's acting that like, holy shit, this species is not in anything we've ever seen before. What is a Mogwai?
It might as well be a fucking alien. Mogwais. Yeah, that came out of outer space, which the egg scene also really reminded me of Alien 2. I feel like he took a lot of inspiration from there with like the egg sacs and the hatching, which made it creepier too.
Yeah, that goo and all that stuff is.
Look how they're lit from the inside when they open.
That's cool.
Yeah.
This some of the like even fighting the gremlins reminded me of like professional wrestling when like. The mom is fighting them, and like he's got all these weird finishing moves with the blender and stuff like that.
Just throwing them around. Yep.
When Billy's fighting them at the end, like it's literally like a backstage professional wrestling contest. It's pretty hilarious.
There's a video game series. I've never played it, but it's called Slaughterhouse, I think.
Yeah.
And the whole draw to that game is to just have violent deaths, right? Like, you just, when you kill people, you can use like the environment to kill them, right?
Yep.
I don't want to see, I mean, maybe a sequel, but I would love to play a Gremlins video game. Let's say one of them got out, right? You know, the one that was like the teacher was working on, the one that got out, and he's the one that really actually kind of multiplied the town, because it wasn't Spike or Stripe. Like, those guys kind of got killed by the mom, right?
Yeah.
But that one got cloned, and that's the one that escaped on Billy and then go and populated the town full of gremlins. But like, that one we never really got to know. What if that one kept going out to places? And so I think it'd be really cool to play a video game where you're in the same era, say it's in the 80s, you're in the town next door, and this one just jumped in the pool, and now they're all over the place. And then you pick a character, and then you just have to like fight them off, and you can blend them, nuke them, stab them, throw them.
It's like Dead Rising, but with gremlins.
Yeah, exactly. But with gremlins, you just make this like crazy game where like, but do it like high fidelity, like do it, where it's kind of realistic. So you get that horror element, but it's like silly at the same time with like the way you're killing them, And I would love to play that game. Gremlins.
I thought you were gonna say you play as the gremlin. Like the fucking, like the Battlefront 2 mode where you're like the Ewok mode in Battlefront 2 where you're going around and killing people.
Oh, dude.
They could make a fucking asymmetrical multiplayer game where you're a gremlin and you got your friends are survivors. It would be funny.
Dude.
They're trying to kill you.
Weight-based survival. Turn it into a crafting game. How can we have a battle pass to it, is my question.
Unlock gremlin skins for sure. Flasher Gremlin.
Boom.
Which,
there you go.
Flasher Gremlin was in this movie. We were debating whether that was in 1 or 2, and he showed up in this movie. He was in the bar.
Yeah.
Fucking flashing a teenage girl.
They got so fucking crazy so quick with the amount of gremlins and like the different variations of them so quick. I thought that a lot of that they saved for 2, and this one was more, but this one had like biker gremlins and caroler gremlins and all sorts of. They're all over the place.
My question is, do gremlins have genders, or do they just choose to be whichever? Because most of them seem like there was only one in this movie that had like lipstick on and, you know, was dressed as a female. So like, do they just, you know, I'm more interested in the anatomy of gremlins now. Like, is there male?
Well, we know how they reproduce, so they don't really have to be male or female.
Right.
They just need water
they just choose. Right. They just choose to be. Because I know in the Gremlins 2, there's many more female presenting gremlins in that movie.
They don't bang, so we know that there's no need for different.
Unless they get the water out, you know.
Gremlin wangs, or I don't know. Like they're not humping in the back room or anything like that. Like so,
you never know.
They're just out there to cause chaos. Really, it's like I said before. It's like a bunch of fucking 4-year-olds on methamphetamines just running wild, just causing chaos everywhere.
I thought the production of this movie was really good, though. Like, I think, you know, practical effects.
Do you think
using puppets?
Do you think the Gremlins hold up? I think it gives. Look, they look silly when they're especially full-bodied walking down the street.
Gestures on their like.
But
yeah. Some of those shots. I mean, come on.
They use like stop motion. They're using stop motion when they're a lot for the movement, especially when they're walking. But I think it makes it more charming and more silly just because it doesn't look very realistic. I mean, the practical effects on the actual puppet are well made. Like they look good, but like the animation of them is, you know, it is what it is. It's a puppet. I think it makes it more charming,
it's
especially
like a
Gizmo.
Movie. Right. Yes. Oh, Gizmo and it's excellent.
Really hard to make a puppet the star of a movie, and you know, I think they pulled it off well. I mean, the supporting characters, whatever, Billy, he was fine. I don't have a problem with his character, but I'm
Billy's
not
actually the main character.
Yeah, but I'm not like, oh yeah, go Billy. You know, like he's not that great of a character. He's just a typical doofy. I don't know, like you said, 20-year-old dude. Yeah, just a nice kid.
Loves his mom and dad and his small town America, and he's got the cute girl down the road, and you know, like
he lives in the attic though. Does anybody see that? Think that was weird? Where like
I think that's a cool little bachelor pad he's got up there.
Yeah, I mean, but who lives in the attic of their own
house? Kevin McAllister?
No, he didn't. He didn't live up there. That was his punishment.
But there were steps.
Oh,
yeah, he got sent up there.
He's living in like there's pull down steps up to his room.
Right. It was a legit attic. It was probably freezing up there.
Yeah.
Another 80s trope. There's always like some kind of inventor, right? We just saw Goonies, like, you know, we saw like a movie just can't, like in the 80s, you always had somebody inventing something where a bowling ball rolls and hits this and it slides down. But I like that this movie was like, okay, how about the dad's an inventor? But like he's not a good inventor, and it's just like a great gag throughout the whole movie.
It's a good gag. There's also not really a reason for it other than for like the comedy and for it to be funny. Because like I was hoping. I mean, again, this has been a long time since I've seen.
One of his inventions would save the day.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was kind of hoping for. Like the dad would be like,
joke throughout the movie.
I finally invented something good that will stop the gremlins, you know, just for him to have his moment, but never came.
No, like at the end,
he's just a goof.
He's like, here, look, let me give you like this ashtray thing to this old man. And he's just like, oh, he's like the only one. Like, yeah, the other one was trying to, the guy at the gas station tried to give it to me.
It was so funny.
So
that was good. He is such a. I don't know how they're paying their mortgage. Like he hasn't sold shit.
Right?
Like,
he's going to conventions. He's not selling anything.
The money thing seemed to have been written in the script at one point. It seems like people are hurting for money because there's that mom with the kids, and we learned about that old woman through these interactions.
Mrs. Deagle is hounding everybody.
It's just, but like she does get her comeuppance, but the money part is never resolved. Like I would like to have seen that mom and the kids like get something. They could have been killed for all I know, you know. But like, how does the dad Like they don't say like, oh, if Dad doesn't like sell one of his inventions, we're gonna have to like move or
Right.
because like
Like
the
the
mom's
Goonies.
working at home. She's not doing anything.
Yeah, mom's
She's
staying
just
home. Yeah, she's staying home
staying at
mom.
home mom, which is not for nothing, but like your son is moved. Well, he's not moved out of the house. He's got a job though.
He's the one supporting that. They say that at one point in the movie, like that he's supporting
His
their whole
bank job?
family. Yeah. So
Okay.
I guess that's
Alright,
how they're
yeah.
staying
Good on
afloat.
him, I guess.
Yeah.
But like his boss or his like the assistant manager or whatever, that judge guy. Like,
Judge
he's in the
Reinhold.
movie.
Yep.
Yeah, and he acts like he's like a big deal, but he's not. And he just we don't like. There had to have been a scene that they filmed where like he gets attacked or killed or something, right? But we don't see him ever again.
was
So
some deleted scenes with him like locked in the bank vault or whatever like that.
sure,
kinda
something
going
like he
crazy.
deserved his comeuppance too because he was a douche.
He was just
giving Billy.
he's just that dick that you work with that thinks he's, all that. I'm gonna be a millionaire by next year. I'm like, okay, dude.
Yeah, I'll be a millionaire by 30 or something like that.
Hey, sure, dude.
Something stupid.
There's a lot of just like in general, like it's surprising that the movie turned out as well as it did with like I was just looking at some of the movie facts, like some of the choices that were made in the movie between Spielberg and Joel Dante, like, originally Stripe and Gizmo were the same character, but then they decided to keep
Really? I didn't know
Gizmo
that.
separate so the audience can identify with like, a fondly remembered character and stuff like that. One of the studio notes apparently when seeing the first cut was that there were too many gremlins. And Spielberg suggested cutting them all out and calling the movie People, which sounds like a fucking horrible idea.
Whoa.
Like there's a lot of just
I feel like that
weird stuff.
had to be a joke.
Like the department store with the chainsaw wasn't in the script, and they just added that in as an
that was great.
To like check. Well, in all honesty, a chainsaw would go through a baseball bat in about a quarter of a second.
Right, that's a strong
Billy would have
baseball
gotten
bat.
his face completely smashed in, but
Oh, sure. I feel like if I saw a gremlin, I would just run full sprint and just kick it.
My question was, where were the gremlins getting all of these gremlin-sized things? Did you notice, like
Right.
at the bar, they had gremlin-sized glasses that they were getting served in,
Glasses,
and then
hats, and yeah.
and then the in the
The
department
children's
store,
department.
the gremlin had a tiny crossbow. I'm like, where'd you get that?
Yeah,
That
what
is funny
store
how,
can I buy a fucking chainsaw, a Barbie remote control car, a stereo, TV, camcorders, and a fucking pistol?
Right.
Bullets right next to it.
Oh,
Like,
gun!
And like the gremlin's gone for like 2 seconds, and like by the time he like walks into the room, he's got like this whole elaborate like setup trap with all these toys on the ground and things going. And
I
he's
love it
hiding
though.
in
But
the
I was thinking
shelves.
about that. Like, how is he? I know that's what gremlins do. They're really
Fuckers are
mischievous and they can. But yeah, he was like, Billy's gonna come in, and if he goes by those TVs, if he goes by the TVs, I'm gonna have this camera on, and I'm gonna scare him on one TV, and when he breaks that TV, I'm gonna show up on all the TV. It's like, damn, you're like 24 hours old. How are you figuring this shit out?
That's what I was saying. The electrical engineering part of it, like
They're an
They're
advanced
spiritual creatures, I guess.
species.
And they're
Apparently, in folklore, gremlins do possess like high intelligence and like mechanical engineering knowledge. Because I'll give you a little backstory on like gremlins folklore. Apparently, gremlins like in folklore were responsible for like helping humans with like basically the Industrial Revolution and creating all these machines. But then humans took all the credit for it. So gremlins were pissed, and that's why they started sabotaging all of the machines that that they helped create, because the humans took credit for creating them, when really it was all the gremlins that
it's like a DNA memory where they're just born with those memories.
Exactly.
And they know how to do shit. Now that it makes sense to me. Now I can.
So there's some basis in like the folklore of gremlins, which is
But what I think is funny is, or I guess interesting, is that they have this high intelligence and they're evil to their core, but they also have like this cute side. They want to have fun. They want to drink. They want to like party, and they want to watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Like you think they wouldn't want to watch a horror movie, but they want to watch like a cute movie, you know. So
or was
I
that
thought
just? I was gonna say, is that the only movie available at the time? But that movie was like
maybe.
from the 30s, and this is the 80s. So why would they just have Snow White readily available in that movie theater? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, they can be cute sometimes. I forgot that when they are Mogwais before they turned into Gremlins. I forget. Like I don't know. I thought that was a nice attention to detail that there were 5 that popped off of him, Stripe in the 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I made sure during the kill count that like
tracking them.
It tracked. It does because Billy only clones the one and then gives it to the teacher.
Yeah.
And then he takes them back, and then the mom kills them all except Stripe. And then the one with the teacher got away. So I thought, hey, that's pretty good. Like I don't know, in a movie that's dumb like this, the detail like it tracks. So.
But then the gremlin falls in the pool, and then there's like 1,000 of them.
So right, how does that work? When they're a gremlin instead of a mogwai, when they're a gremlin, when they get wet. I mean, obviously they pop out of him because we saw him try to do that. Yeah, it's just like he was just like overload. Like, how does he not die?
Right.
Oh, God.
When does it stop?
But I guess they're all in the water with him, so they all just probably just kept.
It's like popcorn
themselves. So, yeah, you just had like, yeah,
and explosion. I'm assuming it's clearly based on the amount of water, you know, because they put one tiny drop on them when they're cloning them, and it gives you 1. Gizmo got a cup of water spilled on him, and it was 4. So a pool gives you 1,000.
And there you go. Going back to the production, I appreciate because they had to storyboard some of these moments where, like, okay, Stripe's gonna jump in a pool. All right, well, do we show that? Yeah, let's show it. All right, what does he look like? He's doing a cannonball, and they had to like get this puppet to do a cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had to put it in the water. There's other moments where like Gizmo at the very end is getting his temperature checked, so his mouth is like shaped to take the thermometer. They had to design that.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know, like it is
all articulated.
All these little things that they're doing for these characters, these little creatures. I appreciate it because it does set. Yeah, it looks like a fucking puppet. It does not look real, but I appreciate that they make these little parts to their bodies to accommodate the scene that they're trying to sell, and I think that's what makes this movie look good today. Like not like wow real, but just that it holds up because they didn't have like the same mouth used throughout the whole movie. Like
it's believable. It's believable that they are creatures in this world. You know, like you like in the film, you look at it and you're like, okay, I don't know,
film.
This art house film, The Gremlins.
Indeed.
No, but
have you seen Gremlins? Director's cut? Yes.
It doesn't take you out of the movie. Like I said before, I don't think they are poorly animated. It's a puppet. You know it's a puppet, but it fits in this world, and I think they did a good job. And they obviously worked hard on them because they are the star of this movie. They're the main attraction of this movie. So
the facial animations are impressive on those.
Yeah,
very impressive.
There was one scene where a gremlin was riding a skateboard, and I saw that, and he was like hunched over and just using his arms to push himself or something like that.
Yep.
And I'm like, they literally built that model just for this one scene, and they never used it again.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That puppet's just
Stripe is riding a tricycle at the end of that department store or whatever. You know, and they're like, damn, that looked fucking real because he's all in that shot and there's nothing really around him. Like they probably had it like wired up and it just automatically did it, but in the shot, it looked pretty real.
Practical effects are good, and you know, even when like obviously in like the bar, they just attached a fucking puppet to a spinning fan, but like with everything else going around and the sound and everything put together, all the pieces put together, it's believable, you know. But yeah, I don't know, it's fun, and we can't forget at the end how Gizmo saved the day, you know.
Yeah,
open the window, boom.
They just took a stuff version of him, and they said, "And let go." And whoosh,
that one was like pretty obvious.
It looks so fake. I love it. That one didn't.
But again,
up,
like
whatever.
It adds to the comedy. It adds to the fun.
movie charm. Like they wanted a B movie feel to this because it's Spielberg. There's no reason. Christopher Columbus. You got big name. Well, not big names, but you got like a team here that can make a big movie, and they kind of went kind of like a B movie a little bit. It felt like a B movie, which is fine. I mean, I think that's why they had B movie actors. All those old men in the movie are actually old timers from like B movies.
Something
so
I just
thought, yeah,
did you know that Howie Mandel was the voice of Gizmo?
Yeah, of course. He's the same
I didn't know
as
that. I just found that out today.
Today's World. Yeah. Let's hear your Gizmo again.
Welcome to the Nomad the Fantasy.
Let's hear yours.
You're gonna get a little higher pitch. No, I don't do it. It's more like a.
Do the humming.
I think I can. I haven't done it in a while.
Discord is cutting that out.
That's pretty good. I like that. I saw that this one, which is weird, and I kind of want to go back and see it. But Back to the Future and this both use the same lot for this, so I don't know if they reused.
Dude, it totally looked.
It totally
looks like it could. It's like they said they wanted to have like a Rockwell kind of American touch to this movie, right? They wanted to feel like small town America, and holy shit, they did. Like from that whole opening shot of the town, looks like, yeah, that's like small town America. That is Back to the Future, baby.
Where does it take place in this movie? It seems like it's like in Indiana or
some middle America,
Midwest,
probably.
Kinda. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They said that the theater that burned down, they ended up using in Back to the Future 2, where Marty drives into the front of the movie theater. Like they ended up reusing that in Back to the Future 2 when he crashes his car through the front of the, like when he goes to the future and everything's all shitty and, broken down in the alternate reality of Back to the Future 2.
Right. Okay. That's cool.
It's kind of cool how those little things that they reuse and they kind of, do over. Like in the Dungeons and Dragons movie reused all the Game of Thrones sets. Like,
did they really?
Yeah, and that's how they got. That's how they got by on a low budget. Just reuse that shit. So
that's a good movie. That's cool that they did that. Okay.
Yeah. Corners.
What did you guys think of the music? Did you pay attention to the music at all?
Nothing that's super stood out, but it was.
I've always liked the Gremlins theme song. Yeah, the theme. But I like that. I like how they slowly add that theme song because you have the Gizmo song, whatever that fucking little thing he hums, and then they'll have that also sometimes, whenever like Billy's concerned about Gizmo, and he pops him out, and they'll play.
Right, it's like a recurring theme.
Song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like when the Gremlins start coming out. It's like it just sounds mischievous, and sometimes it's violins, ding 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 ding. But then, like when it's full on, it's that synth. Do 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 da 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 da. Oh man, that song is so catchy. It's not a song that you can do like, hey everybody, gather around. You want to hear a song? Like yeah, and you're gonna play like the Gremlin song, but I don't know. I'm always like a sucker for a score, and I just think that when they wrote that song, it was like a great Gremlin song. Like that sounds like that's what the Gremlins would have.
Evoked the feelings of that the Gremlins give you throughout the movie.
The guy that did it, his name is Jerry Goldsmith, that did the.
Okay, yeah, I know that name. What else has he done?
He's been doing stuff since back in the '60s, like Planet of the Apes and Chinatown. He did Star Trek movie, Poltergeist. Hoosiers. He's got stuff from.
Okay, so he's a vet as well. He's a veteran in there.
He's been around for a while doing a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Alien movie. Like.
Oh wow!
I didn't know. There's so much stuff on this list that it's kind of hard to.
Well, dude, what is it about the early '80s, man? Like, actually, just the '80s in general, just the creativity that came out. Like, we don't see risks like this anymore, and if we do, it's like A24. It's small. Like, where is the creativity? I don't know. Watching these '80s movies, they just are so obvious that they were looking to create new stories, new characters, new experiences. And today, it's like we have run out of ideas, or we don't bother, or like the producers just don't want to risk it. So they just do the same old, same old. How many times can people watch fucking superhero movies, man? It's just, I hope Iron Man, but like the Flash dies in this movie. It's, it's the first Flash movie. Like you know he's gonna live. You know the hero is going to live in this fucking movie. Where's the risk? So everywhere we look, I just feel like everything's safe in Hollywood. And look at the '80s, and it's like even something stupid as the Gremlins holds up. People are still watching
That's
it.
why
It's still considered
everybody's
a classic.
trying to
And it's a
remake
dumb,
things that are from the 80s. They're trying to recapture that 80s magic. But with
kind of goes in
remakes is not
cycles,
the ways
too.
to do it, though.
It goes in cycles because like we're all, in our 30s and 40s, like. Or
Eric's not
30,
even
right?
in his 30s yet.
Almost.
You're getting
Next
close.
year.
But no, people with like, the movie theaters are going to cater to people that have, disposable income and are, what
It's
is
true.
more disposable? What's going to get the money out of your wallet better than nostalgia?
Nostalgia, baby. It's a
Pull it
powerful
out,
drug.
But even like you're saying in the 80s, like there's a lot of like risks and new ideas, new movies that came out in the 80s that like, we're starting to recycle now. Like when, in 20 years, when, our kids start to have that kind of money, like, are they going to start recycling like Baby Shark, the fucking movie? They're going to start, doing all sorts of this Bluey. Well, I mean, it's only so long until there's a Bluey movie, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, but like if we're looking at like what is new that this generation has and it's fucking Bluey, we got problems because what I'm saying is the '80s literally has everything from like Aliens, Jaws, Friday the 13th, Goonies, we all know those movies. Like, what is it about the '80s that it was just crushing it? You got the rom-coms were good back then.
A lot of those are taken from
16
books,
Candles and shit.
Yeah, that's true. Like, well, I was thinking like Jaws.
The
and, like, I
slashers
didn't know
were
that
dominating then.
This was inspired by that short story that Eric was even talking about, and like, Stand By Me is from a Stephen King book, and Jaws is from a book, and there's
everything's based off something else. But
yeah,
I agree with you. Like especially the bigger companies, Disney, always looking at you, are not willing to take risks on things that won't make money. They do things that they make things that they know will make money, which are superhero movies, which are, franchises that people are familiar with, or remakes of their beloved classics in live action. Like it's all for money. It's not for creativity. Money is,
like what movie? What was the most magical movie that came out that captured like America's heart, and we're like, we just can't get enough of these fucking Gremlins. I need it. What was the last thing? Grogu. Like, what was the last thing that swept through America? Where like I need it. I want it. Make a sequel.
But Grogu is still Star Wars, which people are fucking tired of Star Wars these days because there's just there's too much of it.
Content. Yeah, for the general public, fans eat it up, but like the general public, we're good. But then again, they're still watching superhero. It's just, I don't know. It's just so apparent to me now that Hollywood has run out of ideas, and it's just sad because I want my kids to get I want to see the next version of whatever, like.
It's not that Hollywood has run out of ideas. It's that these mega corporations own everything, so there's no room for creativity anymore for the smaller guys.
That's true. That's true.
So
that's true.
How would you guys feel, because they love to recycle things now, how would you guys feel about a Gremlins reboot? Like what would that entail? I mean, at this point you're not making a Gremlins 3, you're making a Gremlins 1, and like
I don't need a reboot.
Telling the story essentially. Like if they're gonna do anything, that would be my guess as to what they would do.
Well,
give me a video game, but I don't want a reboot.
No, I don't know. It would probably end up being like a fucking legacy sequel. Like Billy's at a fucking 40, 50 years old now, and then
ready.
Right? Exactly. Fucking.
He's like going through a divorce. I'm not ready.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I'm surprised, like, because this series has been dormant for a while. You said there's that animated thing that's coming out now, which I'm kind of surprised that's a thing. But like, this is one of those ones that was so popular back in the 80s that it's like kind of hard to imagine how they haven't done it yet, which makes me think that it's probably already been talked about or being talked about and stuff.
I looked at the making of Gremlins 3, and it just looks like they just could not get it together and agree on a script.
I don't know how much more you can do with this franchise unless, like, the show that Brandon mentioned, like you dig more into the lore of the Gremlins and the the history behind it. Like, you can only make the same movie so many times where Gremlins are fucking shit up.
Make a dark Christopher Nolan version of the Gremlins.
Oh God.
Whoa. Well, you could do something where one accidentally gets like put into like Amazon or whatever, and it goes and mails out to like or FedEx or something like that, and just mails out across the whole nation, and kids across the world are getting them. Maybe, and like some of them are dying in the sunlight, some of them are getting wet, and they don't know the rules, and all of a sudden you got like, and it only takes a couple of Gremlins to know, because they get smart pretty quick, and then they will figure out, because that's how they tricked Billy. Okay. Like Billy thought he was feeding them like, oh, it's only 11:20. I can still feed you. Let me take, well, today's standard, but like let me take $30 of chicken drums and just give them to the like dude, that was like dinner probably for them.
I'm like, shit.
Yeah,
dude.
like it looked like
that's leftovers, or is that dinner for tomorrow night?
I know, but he gave that to them and then they ate it, but like he didn't realize that they ate the cord, or they ripped the cord, so his clock was past midnight.
Uh-huh.
And then you saw to the teacher later on, it was like 2:00 in the morning, actually. Like, Billy, how do you not know it's 2:00 in the morning? But like, you'll see the teacher was with that one. He's like, all right, buddy, we'll wrap up for the day. And I'm like, dude,
Right.
2:30 in the morning? You're a teacher at a school. Like, what are you doing?
He was on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery.
Right. And the teacher was there the next day, like at probably like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, dude had like,
he sleeps in the faculty lounge or something like that. Maybe he's having trouble with the old missus. All right, well, let's take it a step further. We'll say your Amazon thing gets mailed out. Turn it into, instead of Planet of the Apes, we turn it into Planet of the Gremlins. And we just fast forward 10 years into the future where gremlins have murdered everybody and have taken over the planet. And then we just have small pockets of humans that are surviving and trying to survive. Post-apocalyptic gremlins.
I mean, after
Gremlin
2,
society rules the planet now.
2 was just like batshit crazy, made no sense, but it's there. Who's to say that the third one can't be like, and now for the third one, we're going to go horror.
I feel like they would have to lean more into like more horror, less comedy. You know what I mean? It would have to be like a different genre. They can't just do the same thing again. And
the first 2 were, the kids can watch the first 2 though, so it's just like, like what do you do there? Because
Gremlins, it's not like
for kids.
It's not like Gremlins is a popular IP these days, so you could do it. You could do a reboot in a different, in a different context. So,
I think that's the thing that Gremlins struggles with, is walking the fine line between a kids movie, a Christmas movie, a horror movie. Like that's the
Yeah,
I think that's
wearing a lot of different hats.
Why we don't have a sequel at this point, and like why it's not easily refreshable. I saw a thing on mentalfloss.com that Indiana Jones Temple of Doom and Gremlins were both
the reason why there's
for PG-13 is because people criticized Gremlins for not being kids appropriate, and they could easily, you put a couple other people murders in it, or maybe drop an F-bomb, and Gremlins could have been R technically back in the day when there's only PG and R to choose from.
Or something like that. You're like, what do you fucking do? Just swear at me, Stripe?
I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker.
Right?
Like, you want to hear that?
Funny.
I think Gremlins would work as a straight horror movie. Make it like actually scary, and like with the fidelity nowadays, you could make these Gremlins fucking creepy as hell. So I think that would be cool. And I
they
feel
like
that's the direction
military
they would go
base. And they're taking and then there's like an old timer like talking about like the World War II like airplanes.
Have those roots in folklore.
He's just standing there like looking at it, and the Gremlin gets in it, turns the propellers on, and he turns around and and that's like you could do some really cool shit with that
Gremlins,
horror. Like
they could take a fucking
movie.
airliner down and cause a plane to crash. Like,
dude, all these people are in an airplane. Like, mommy, where we go? We're going to Hawaii, kids.
There's something on the wing.
All of a sudden,
you just see them. They're just purposely taking over there.
Opens and gremlins start popping out of the overhead
compartment. Right, dude.
Get all these motherfucking gremlins on this motherfucking plane.
Oh, dude, right. Yeah. Oh, dude, yes.
There's so much weird shit that you can do with this.
All right, I'm sold now.
Franchise.
Here I am, a hypocrite. Hollywood has no fucking ideas, but
let's reuse Gremlins.
It's hard. It's hard because we know that reboots and sequels and all that stuff are a thing. So that's our take on it. But it's like what they did with Child's Play. They did what would you do with Child's Play today? They did that. They rebooted it, and they kind of came up with some fun ideas on how a doll would kill people. So maybe Gremlins, but we don't need it. But if that's what they do, take our idea.
If they lean more, if they kept with the horror or comedy aspect, Gremlins today would be fucking viral on TikTok or something, like they would be viral on social media.
You get a Gremlins filter and you see what you look like as a female gremlin or a dude gremlin or a whatever gremlin. That's
Did you ever watch Key and Peele's? You ever watch Key and Peele's skit on Gremlins 2?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I remember that one.
It's surprisingly accurate. It has been said.
It's really fun.
One of the writers of Gremlins 2 said, yes, this is pretty much exactly how it happened.
Yeah, so Eric, it's they have Key is just talking to his writers, all right, Gremlins 1 was a huge hit. People love Gremlins, so let's make a sequel. We know the formula, so let's just do it again. And then behind them is this super flamboyant, late 80s, early 90s looking Peele. Just I'm just here. I'm just I just help with ideas. I forget what he's called. I'm whatever. But
sent by the studio essentially.
Yeah, and then they say okay, so what do you want to do? And then as soon as the one writer gives up his idea, he's like, how about this? He's like, how about more gremlins? Everybody gets a gremlin. So what would you do for your gremlins? I don't know. How about a spider gremlin? And you mean a spider? And he goes into the stupid detail of what the characters was, and it was pretty funny. But Dave, the one I really liked was he was like, what about you? And the one writer's like, how about a gremlin with googly eyes? It's you mean a gremlin whose sole purpose in the movie is to look dumb as fuck? It's in the movie. I love it.
The movie.
And that's just what he does. And
I think I have seen that. Actually,
it's a good skit. It's a great skit, but it's
the fact that it's surprisingly
very accurate of the movie.
It's just you can
any
see,
dumb idea, any dumb idea you could come up with, it's in the movie.
How about we had Hulk Hogan do it? Oh, you mean the actor turned professional or the wrestler turned professional actor?
It's in the movie.
He's in the movie.
Right.
Go.
That's
so good.
Yeah. The sequel, which is weird, I watched that recently too. I usually watch them back to back, but the neighbors get killed. They get killed by his American-made, tractor, right?
Mm-hmm. The Kentucky Wrangler or whatever it was.
Right. So
bad for that guy.
Why? He's racist.
Well, he was racist the whole time. He is absolutely racist.
Foreign cars, foreign TV.
Yeah, he's a product of World War II. I mean, obviously he was a pilot or something like that. So he has a grudge against probably the Japanese or whatever. But
from whatever war he was in,
yeah, but it's still racist to think that, but I understand where he's coming from. But he gets killed in the sequel. The actor, I think, that played the dad is dead, maybe, so they don't reprise their role. But Billy's working in a tower, in downtown in the city or whatever, and that gets taken over by the Gremlins. But the neighbors show up. The neighbors that get killed are in the sequel. They're just there. They're just showing up.
It's never confirmed that they are killed, though. It's sort of implied.
It's on the news or something like that. Don't we see something along those lines? And they just do that.
Well, the mom gets a phone call or something like that. What happened? Really? It was a freak accident at their house. So
no, it was at the police station. It was the cop on the phone.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah,
those fucking cops, they're such bumbling fucking idiots.
You can't drive. You're drunk.
Eric, did you see Mike from Breaking Bad?
No, was he one of the cops?
He's the dumb cop that's like shooting the Nerf gun.
I didn't even
or
recognize him. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was him younger. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
that was him. Yeah, the hitman from Breaking Bad.
Like how they see Santa getting mauled by gremlins and they just like roll up the windows and drive away.
They're horrible cops. Like
they don't
just
even
want to
do anything. They're just like,
they're just drunks.
Let's go back to the station, and then they just drive away. I'm like, guys,
they're small town cops. They were not prepared for that.
They got guns though. Just blast out the window. Yeah.
True. Well, yeah, I know. Like, yeah, because like the Santa Claus guy is just like literally like begging for help, and they're like roll up the window, like, they're like, is this like an act or something like that?
The grandma's looking in, and he's just eyeballing those two guys as he's murdering this Santa Claus in the outfit.
Right.
Which is horrible, but it's a weird one. Like I remember liking it. I watched it with my kids, and I'm like, man, my kids kind of like it. You know, it's all right for kids. There's the whole no Santa Claus part story was pretty fucked up, but like it without that scene, yeah, sure, it's great for kids, but like I don't know. I could see why it's not a holiday classic because it has that line between.
Brandon disagrees.
Well, classic implies
part of my life, though. It's just I'm nostalgic for this movie big time, and like I was just at the right age.
Well, yeah, if you grew up on it, but yeah, it's got that. It's not a Christmas story where you're gonna watch it with the family every year. It's one of those things. It's a little more niche than that because it's got that horror element.
Yeah,
it's got
some
fucked up stuff going on in it. So, like, I can see why it's not more popular than
Well, it's tough, like you said. Like, it's not for just one audience. It's for kind of a mix. Like the horror people, but it's not a horror movie because there's like cute kid shit in there too, and the cute kid shit. By the way, if you like that, there's some legit scary scenes that happen in this movie. So it's a hard sell.
I'd say it's more of a comedy than a horror. Like there is horror elements, but like they don't lean into it enough to be like to fall into that genre. Which I guess I feel like was kind of what Dave's saying. It sort of has an identity crisis a little bit because it doesn't lean enough in either direction. I could definitely see where you're coming from, but doesn't
that also like help with its appeal though, that it's different than your usual?
Maybe not to I don't know. For me it does, but not for everybody. Yeah,
the audience. It's definitely a Christmas movie though. Let's get that out of the way.
It takes place like on Christmas Eve or whatever. So yeah,
and there's parts about it like.
There's lights, there's Christmas decorations. It's a Christmas movie.
It's all over the movie.
He's given the Mogwai as a Christmas present, which I think is
big element. But
I was thinking about it like, if taking place during Christmas isn't enough to make it a Christmas movie, like is Home Alone even a Christmas movie? Because that has nothing to do with Santa Claus. It's just a kid getting left home alone when his family goes on vacation. Like. So yeah, absolutely, definitely a Christmas.
If it
movie.
takes place during Christmas and it's about celebrating Christmas, I guess that's not even a qualification because if you say whatever, the whole fucking tired Die Hard argument,
Yeah, Bruce Willis doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, but whatever. Even in Home Alone, they're
sorry.
Yeah. But in Home Alone, they are celebrating Christmas, and in this movie, they're technically celebrating Christmas because it's a Christmas present, So it's definitely a Christmas movie. But I have not seen Gremlins 2 though. But it makes me want to see it because I just know it's so much more. They just go wild with it.
Oh, just wait.
It's so weird. It's definitely more of a B movie. It definitely doesn't have the magic of the team before. It's definitely like the B team making that movie,
right?
But it's still fun. Like it's got Christopher Lee in it. It's got some recognizable faces. It's fun.
About Christopher Lee in there.
And the Gremlins literally take over the movie. Like it's so fucking nuts.
I have heard people that like the sequel better than the first one, just because it does go so fucking wild with it.
Definitely less horror too. It's more leading into it. It's just goofy as hell.
Yeah,
but
I want to watch it. Yeah, I do want to watch it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Cool.
I think that's
Gremlins.
I think we've talked Gremlins about just about everything there is to say about Gremlins. But if there's more that we haven't said, please let us know. But yeah, that was a fun conversation and a fun one to rewatch because like I said, I haven't seen it in years. So maybe I'll make it a yearly special like you do, Brandon, because I enjoyed my watch. Like it's just a fun movie, just a super fun movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we will take a little break here, and when we come back, we have another version. I forgot. Did we have a name for this game? I don't remember what it was.
Haiku you doing?
Haiku, yeah.
I like that.
Haiku you doing? But Tejas, our friend from the Discord there, has another haiku game for us. So I'm really excited about that. So after we come back from the break, we will be back with that right after this. are back with second edition of Haiku You Doing.
How you doing?
Our specialty of Tejas from our Discord. So he will be posting in our Discord as we read, as the new haikus come up. So I will read the instructions that he has posted. Welcome to the Nomads Haiku, aka Haiku You Doing. This week are movies only. You will play together with 3 out of 5, getting you a trip to the Japanese Winter Sweet Potato Festival. All the taters you can eat, precious.
Side of honey.
Losing gets you mischiefed by Gremlins. Womp womp.
Okay.
So yeah, if
mischief by Gremlins equals murdered in your
dead.
own home.
Yes, dead. So yeah, if you're listening for the first time, if you didn't listen to the first version of this, basically Tejas is going to post some haikus in our Discord. We are going to read them and work together to figure out, in this case, what movie this is a clue for. But these are all in haiku form. So,
okay.
Let's begin. I will read the first haiku here. Lost in the cold north, to find his family he leaves to the Big Apple. And I already know which one this is.
I think I know this one too.
Do you know it, Brandon?
It's pretty straightforward. This is a popular movie.
Think about the time of year and look at the amount of letters in the spoilered box.
Well, I can't get Home Alone 2 out of my head, but it's not that. So, Lost in the Cold North?
Yeah, like the
to
North
find
Pole.
his family. Oh, is this Elf?
I think it's Elf.
Is this Elf?
Do we all agree on Elf?
I've never really seen the movie, but I've seen parts. And
you've never seen Elf?
It's got to be Elf.
Dude, you know how I am with Will Ferrell movies. Like I Will Ferrell out. I was like, all right, enough of the man-child. But I heard that this one was actually one of his
Elf
better
is fun.
movies.
I like Elf.
Yeah.
It's become a Christmas classic for many people.
Right.
But yes, I think we all agree. Elf. Let's reveal the answer. It is indeed Elf.
Yes.
Good job, boys.
Oh, yeah.
One step closer to that winter sweet potato festival. All right. Bring on the next haiku, Tejas. We're ready. All right. Here comes the next one. Through space we travel, the princess and faithful droid. Shotgun rides the Mog.
Is this Spaceballs?
It's gotta be
half man, half dog.
Yeah, it's gotta
be. I'm my own best friend.
That's a good one. Yeah, he's good at these. That's Spaceballs.
I was gonna say, initially you think it's Star Wars,
right? He tried to throw us off there,
but then the Mog at the end. It's gotta be Spaceballs. Do we all agree? Spaceballs? Should we reveal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. It is Spaceballs. We're on a roll.
Nice.
We're on a hot streak. I think he's given us the easy ones first because remember last time we struggled a bit with the first one.
Yeah.
So I think he's starting with the easy ones. He's being nice. So we'll see how hard they get. All right, here's the next one. The most I already know what this one is. The most wanted toy.
Yeah.
Brawls in malls on Xmas Eve. Defeat the mailman. Jingle all the way.
Jingle all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that cookie down.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm terrible, man.
He knows my name. What does he do? Jamie. He knows my name.
You can't tell that it's his dad either from that fucking silly ass accent.
This giant guy with an Austrian accent, Oh, I'm just like every other dad around here. How do you know it's me?
Jamie, it's me, your dad.
Yeah.
So good.
Jamie's a dumbass.
Oh, we did those quick. All right, it looks like we're going to the festival.
Yeah, we're already
the other two.
We're already going to the festival. We got 3 out of 5, but yeah, let's keep it on. Let's keep it on a roll. All right, here's the next one. Life given for work. Automaton constable. Don't do drugs, he says.
Oh, I know this one.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Don't tell me.
Transformers?
Life given for work. Automation constable. Don't do drugs. Big thing is life given for work.
Okay.
Life given for work.
Yes.
Okay. I like a priest.
Automation constable. Constables.
Automaton.
Like a
Constable?
police officer, maybe. Constable.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. That's like a British term for a
Oh,
cop, right?
RoboCop.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
That makes
good
sense.
job.
This was,
Good
man,
job.
Tejas. These are
That's
so
a
good.
good one.
These are so good.
That is, man. Yeah.
Yep, RoboCop.
I really want to play that game.
Okay.
That game needs to be played in this household.
Oh,
the new
RoboCop
RoboCop
video
game? Oh
That
my
new game
god,
is
it
really
looks so good.
What a year for video games.
There's
man.
a demo. There's a demo on Steam that I need to download.
Oh, really?
And try it
Okay.
out on my Steam Deck.
Cool.
All right, let's see if we can get 5 for 5, baby.
On that, apparently. Do you smell your Steam Deck when you play it?
Do I smell it? No.
Do you smell the exhaust fan?
I don't.
Apparently.
I don't huff it. No, I don't huff my deck.
Everybody loves that.
I don't huff my deck.
Weird dude, Dave.
All right, here's the last one. Nighttime accident. Ooh. Don the hat. Okay. Yep. Don the hat and beard to see. Gain weight for the eve.
Is this Santa Claus?
The Santa
Tim
Claus
Allen one?
Yep.
The Tim Allen?
This is a classic in our household where we watch this every year.
It's not bad. The first one's not bad.
The first one. Only the first one.
Incredibly worse.
No, only the first one.
But
the other ones, throw in the trash.
Right. Yeah.
It is indeed the Santa Claus.
Okay.
Let's go. 5 for 5.
We're getting at that.
Enjoy your taters, precious, he says. That was awesome. Thanks, Tejas.
Potatoes.
Yeah, Tejas, that was great. Thanks.
Mash them, boil them. We all know.
Potatoes. We will get Eric to let us watch at least the Fellowship of the Ring on this podcast because
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not the one. I'm not stopping you.
And how do we not? Well, it's just we're the Nomads of Fantasy. Even though we're not a fantasy podcast, we're just replace that word with fiction.
I still want to do D&D.
I
still want to do like a D&D episode or something like.
Where
we get some sort of mini quest or something.
Dungeon Master Dave.
Just be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm a player character.
Well, maybe we can get a guest GM or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. That was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. As always, thank you, Tejas. We're always up for more haiku you doing. I feel like you made them easier because we struggled so much last time.
We did.
So yeah. I do appreciate that. And I also appreciate most of them being Christmas themed, for the holiday season. So
I wouldn't have gotten that RoboCop one though. I was not.
That was a tough.
That
was the tough one for sure. It would have took me a minute. Dave kind of nudged me in the right direction, but no, those were all great. But yeah, so this was our last episode of 2023. It was a great year. A lot of good shit. A lot of movies and video games played. Still video games that I want to play from this year. There's too many. But yeah, hopefully we'll cover some of those next year. You never know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, thanks everybody for a great year. Everybody who has listened, whatever. We appreciate every single one of you. But I'll just give you the normal spiel, and we'll head on our merry way to the holidays. If you want to follow us on Twitter and or Instagram, you can follow us at Nomads of Fantasy. We're also at the Nomads of Fantasy on the TikTok and YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Nomads of Fantasy. That's what it is. Also twitch.tv/Nomads of Fantasy for my Ocarina streams, and we stream the podcast live every time we do it. So check us out there, follow us there. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, and don't forget the Discord, nomadsoffantasy.com/Discord. If you want to stay updated on all things Nomads. So with that, I hope you guys have a whatever holidays you celebrate. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will see you in 2024. Safe travels, Nomads.
Bye, Billy. Bye, Billy. Oh my god.
Just wait till we do the Lord of the Rings episode. We're all doing Gollum impressions.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.